In the year 2005, a lot of bands, for some reason or another, decided, hey, let's drop the best album of our careers. For Avenged Sevenfold, it is City of Evil. Hello, my name is Brandon Vinall. I am a gamer, music lover, and aspiring voice actor. Avenged Sevenfold actually has a lot to do with, my personality, really. The reason I've been wearing my hat backwards and with the bandana underneath what is really because of M. Shadows, the lead singer of the band. I watched him perform something live. It was Backcountry, one of the songs we're going to be talking about on this. And he just looks so dope, and I'm like, I want to do that. Back in 2018 and stuff, I wore my hat like this. And then somewhat recently, I decided to pick it back up, and I'm digging it. So Avenged Sevenfold started out as more of a heavy metal band. However, once City of Evil came out, their third album, they decided to, tone it down on the heavy metal vocals and all that and go straight more to hard rock. And I think literally it was the best decision they've ever made because the sound that they did from this moved on forward through all the way up till I would say the stage. So yeah, this album really defined the band for what their sound is today. So before we go over the tracks and all that, let's take a look at the disc. So this album's disc is a cool gold color. It's really fitting for the general kind of idea of the City of Evil for the fact that it's described in one of the songs that is a city built out of gold or made of gold. So that's kind of cool, but I also actually previously had a version of this album that was red. And that fits the theme a lot too because of the fact that there's a lot of bloodshed in some of the songs in this album, and it just makes total sense for it to be red. So those are your options out there, is that you have a gold disc and a red disc out there. So yeah, whichever floats your boat. I personally prefer the gold one. But I also dig the red one. So I wanted to get rid of one or the other because I realized I only need one. So it was a really tough decision to just stick with the gold. But now let's talk about some more of the packaging before we get into the track list. This is the packaging right here. The album art is iconic, and it is just gorgeous and really highlights the vibe of the album and even shows us kind of what the City of Evil looks like with the Golden City, which is described in one of the first songs, and as well as the evilish kind of atmosphere going. I really dig the Ghost Rider Avenged Sevenfold classic skull, involved with the kind of knight and bat wings and stuff like that. It's really cool symbolically and just yeah, it looks really great, and especially riding on a gold stallion. That is just epic as well. Really awesome. Sky being a fiery red, the fire down below with the symbolism of hell, I guess you could say. And City of Evil right there in silver, as well as Avenged Sevenfold, really big here. Such a beautiful, scary work of art going on right here. We open it up. We get the lyrics of some of the songs as well as all the titles. We get these cool little album art deals going on. There's the picture of the band right there. More skulls. Love that. And the back is just the track list with the iconic Avenged Sevenfold skull. So yeah, I think this artwork is iconic. You might have seen it in the videos where I just film in front of my wall of vinyls, but you've probably seen this up there a lot. That's because this is amazing artwork. I love it, and there's just so much I could talk about it all day, but then this video would be an hour long. So now let's move on to the tracks. Alright, so one thing that's going to be important talking about this album specific is that one, I took a lot of notes. And two, when I go into talking about the tracks, when I'm listening to the album and stuff, I look at the lyrics and kind of interpret in the sort of concept of the album, how it makes sense. But there are times where I do spot the bigger message behind the song, and I will be getting into those as I've caught them. And a couple of them I did look into further and was like, wow, this album's way better than I thought. And I already thought it was fantastic. So side A starts with Beast and the Harlot. This track is an excellent opening track and really starts off with a vibe of dread, and you can just feel sense the darkness, and that we're going to a place that's not very pleasant, not very nice, not very good. M Shadows, or I'll just be referring to most of the time Shadows. He describes the city at the beginning of the song with the lines, "This shining city built of gold, a far cry from innocence. There's more than meets the eye round here. Look to the waters of the deep, a city of evil." Something I love about Avenged Sevenfold that they do in the song is that most of the song sounds like angry and like dark and stuff, but then it gets to like the chorus and it almost sounds kind of hopeful and uplifting in a way, and they do it on this song, and I really love it. But then it goes straight back to the dark and eeriness and all of that, and that's not what they do with every one of their songs. That's just something I noticed they do with a lot of their songs, and I love it. Now, the Beast and the Harlot is described as some sort of entity where demons reside, and it makes it seem like some sort of godly being that rules over the city. The song ends hinting that it's time for all the sinners in the city to be sent down to hell, and that's where we continue the album. Burn It Down is the second track on side A, and it was the most surprising when I really looked into the lyrics, because when I go to review these albums, I usually don't look at the lyrics the first time I've ever listened to them. But before I do the review, I look into them so I can take notes and give my opinion and stuff. And boy, wow. So this was the first song that kind of shocked me on its true meaning, really. And the song seems to be about having trust issues. Shadows talks about how people seem jealous and talk about him behind his back in the first verse. In the second verse, he talks about how he acts like a crutch for this person that he really can't trust. And this song, honestly, it's kind of relatable. Last year, without getting too much into the nitty-gritty or drama or anything, I had a falling out with a couple people, actually, but specifically a person I was like buddies with for like 14 plus years, and it was really sad and upsetting because I really trusted this person, but ever since they screwed me over the way they did, the ways that they did, not just way, it really built up some trust issues that I still have to this day. So I'm still trying to get past them. So I do really relate to some of the messaging in the song. The verse ends with him insinuating that the person is getting what's coming to them, and in real life, I hope that happens to the person who screwed me over. If you're watching this, you might not even know that you screwed me over, but you did. So yeah, go fuck yourself. Next, we get Blinded in Chains. Now, this song seems to critique the government a bit, and here's my thoughts on political songs, and that is that I'm not a big fan on politics in general, but for some reason, if it's done well enough in a song, then I'm totally down with it. Now, while this song might be referenced straight to about the city of evil, I do think it is an actual statement about, the world itself, the state of the world at that time. The song touches on stuff like war and how our future is pretty much fucked in the US. And if you really look at how the state of the world is now, yeah, this one's a bit too real. The message of this song's a bit too real. Shadow says, as they thank the Lord, the blind can't see. And I feel the line, as well as the song itself, might be a critique on basing your politics in religion and like the separation of church and state, which I really think should be like a separate thing, but that's like a whole other discussion, really. And then the song ends with the tempo slowing down, and we get pretty much a description of everyone's just dying one by one slowly. And yeah, this song was a bit too real for me. Good song, but very, very real. Side B starts off with my favorite song on this album, Bat Country. And I feel like if you're even a surface level Avenged Sevenfold like fan, like surface level, you haven't listened to full albums, but you've heard like their hits, You've heard Backcountry, I assure you. I think it was even in a Guitar Hero game, so. The song actually starts off with a quote from Samuel L. Jackson, at least that's what I found online. I think in the music video it says someone else's name, but I've kept seeing Samuel L. Jackson everywhere, so. The quote is, "He who makes a beast out of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man." And this quote will be important later, trust me. I feel like this song, part of it at least, is more world building about what this city is like and this area in the city known as the Backcountry. But the song ultimately is really about drug abuse, and I think specifically psychedelics, according to like some of the lyrics, and even watching the music video. Oh, there's some weird weird imagery in that music video, I'll tell you what.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
There are a lot of hints in the song towards it too, including it almost seems like Shadows is crying for help in the chorus in a way. Another thing that could suggest the drugs is in the post-chorus. "So sorry you're not here. I've been chained too long. My vision's so unclear." Now, chained also, before we continue with this quote, I'm just thinking about this. It could relate to the song Blinding and Chained, but I could be just stretching there. "Now take a trip with me, but don't be surprised when things aren't what they seem." This so-called trip is probably referring as an acid trip, but in the context of City of Evil, it could be we're going to be taking a trip through this area called the Backcountry. Some double meanings there, fictional and real. And the reason I say psychedelics, by the way, besides the imagery in the music video, is just like the tone shift in the song and the instrumental changes. Sounds very soothing, but also very kind of trippy with like the vocals in the background. Yeah, it just gives off the psychedelic vibe. Now, that Samuel L. Jackson quote, this is what the meaning of it is. So, apparently the meaning is about how doing things like drinking and doing drugs is believed to help people become numb from everyday life. So, the reality of the world makes Shadows question why we choose to keep on living, and as tough as the world may be, drugs are not the answer. You just gotta believe that things will get better, but life can suck sometimes. I mean, believe me, I've worked in retail for 6 years so far, and oh god, it can be tough a lot of the time. A lot of the time. Checking out the lyrics and doing further research on the meaning behind the song really made the song mean a lot more to me than it did before, and it already meant a hell of a lot. Next song is Trashed and Scattered. The meaning behind this song seems to be straightforward. It's about a toxic relationship with a cold-hearted, trashy bitch. But just because the song's meaning is very surface level, it doesn't mean that it's not a good song. I mean, not all songs even have to have like a deep meaning or a deeper meaning to be good. It still is a really good sounding song, and I really love it. But god, oh my god, that woman is a bitch. Oh my god. Just listen to the song, you'll hear. Now, the last song on side B is Seize the Day. In this song, we get a dramatic mood change to be more of a calm guitar and slow instrumental build-up compared to the heavy hard rock we've been hearing. And it seems to be a love song, and in this song, Shadows meets a girl that he can envision the rest of his life with. He sees them getting married, having kids, all this kind of stuff. And he knows that if he doesn't tell her how he feels about her now, he'll never get the chance again. So, what's he got to do? He's got to seize the day, seize the moment. Now, the song ends on a sad note for she's just silent. She doesn't know what to say because she doesn't feel the same way. And this is kind of a twist on how a lot of seize the day, seize the moment songs are in most like music that I've heard, because a lot of the times when someone seizes the day or seizes the moment in these kind of songs, it usually has a happy ending. Like you did that, and now the girl is yours. But this one's kind of like more realistic in a really fucked up sad way, because life doesn't always work like that. Life's not always sunshine and rainbows, and yeah, this is just a harsh reality that sometimes you may feel a way about a person, but they just don't feel that way about you. So it's a very interesting take on that concept, if that's what they were going for. Now, as we get to side C, which is disc 2, we start off with the song Sidewinder. Now, in this song, Shadows is hunting down someone. He's trying to kill them, and he describes himself as a venomous snake. And I feel like it could be a reference to Lucifer, or just like a demon in general. Like, maybe this is the point of view of a demon hunting down a victim. It seems, however, he may be being forced to kill, since he says, "I can't regret, can't escape. Decisions made for me, no control." And the song ends by alluding that Shadow got his victim. He killed the victim. Honestly, I'm not too crazy about this song, which is kind of a shame because the name is sick as fuck. But, yeah, that was Sidewinder in a nutshell, kind of. The Wicked End. This song seems to be about the rapture. There are Bible references scattered all throughout this song. Honestly, this is another one that I'm just not personally a fan of. It honestly just comes down to, it just doesn't hit the same as the last songs of this album just have hit. It just hits different in a bad way. Strength of the World is such a good song, and it is the next song. The first thing I noticed is that this song is nearly 10 minutes long. Like, damn. I just knew this is gonna be a trip. Like Seize the Day, this song starts out very calm with acoustic guitars and slow instruments and, that kind of vibe. The instruments are very, like, cowboy-esque, like country-esque in a way. And it takes about a minute and a half before the instruments start picking up again, like the electric guitars and the heavy drums and all that. The story in this is about someone who witnessed his family being killed by outlaws and goes to seek revenge. That already sounds like an awesome synopsis. It's kind of like John Wick, except for avenging his dog, he's avenging, like, his family, which, not as reasonable. If someone killed my family, I'd be like, that's sad. If someone killed my dog, though, I'd just go on a rampage. That's a joke. Kind of. He talks about how he feels killing all of those in his path, saying, "I want it. I need it. Revenge is dripping from my teeth. Need nothing to feel power, and bring those killers to their knees. Nothing to lose, vengeance to gain." Then around the 6-minute mark, the instruments slow down again for a moment, and he talks about how he keeps praying at his family's grave that he will avenge them, but he still hasn't found closure, and will keep killing when he feels like he needs to. And the song ends with him owning that, he's a killer now, and that he'll always miss his family and will never really be alright. Which is a good message. Revenge is not always the answer. Sometimes it actually makes shit worse. So sometimes the best thing to do is just accept what happened and move on. Unless someone kills your dog. Honestly, before we move on, I do like these stories with the sad but also kind of real endings. Because a lot of songs have like a lot of happy endings, and I just like sometimes when, bands or artists, they're real and they just tell you how it is, and like, not everything's a happy ending. So side D has the last 2 songs of the album, first one being Betrayed. The song is essentially about someone who kills someone who they essentially felt to be their hero growing up and felt betrayed by them. To be honest, I didn't really care much for this one either, so we're just going to move on to the last song, which, oh my gosh, is a contender for my favorite song. I'll just deem it my second favorite. MIA, which, if you know acronyms, that means missing in action, which already alludes to what this song's kind of about. So the album concludes on yet another chunky song that's almost 9 minutes long. And then once again, also, the song starts out with some somber instrumentals. And then the instrumentals start picking up again. And this song is about a straight up all-out war in the city of evil, and Shadows finds himself in the middle of it. And honestly, I feel like the album artwork would describe kind of how I imagine Shadows kind of seemed like, or had to be like, or feel like he's like a Ghost Rider like dude. And he's fighting in the City of Evil, which you can see in the background because the buildings are made of gold. If you look at I probably pointed it out in the packaging. For those who don't know, when I film these videos, I actually film the packaging part last after I film this part. But anyways, that's kind of how I envision everything going on in my head. Shadows is literally fighting for his life and trying to escape the City of Evil. Essentially, since I have a lot of gamers who watch me, the gaming equivalent of what's going on here is essentially Shadows has to become the Doomslayer. Now, during this war, there are innocent civilian casualties, and he talks about how he feels really bad about killing, like, a mother in front of their child. Like, that's said in, I think, the chorus. But, like, he has to get home to his loved ones. He needs to get through this war. So, many times in this album, I think like 3, there have been times where the instruments have just sort of sombered down, toned down, and, like, very not heavy instrumentations, and they felt really sad. They do that again here at the end of the song, and it is the most somber, the most sad that it's been in this whole album. Essentially, Shadows is hurt, upset, and he's survived. He survived the war, he survived the battle, and is able to go home, but he just has to carry this burden that he's a killer. He's killed innocent bystanders, and he asks for forgiveness, and that's kind of how the album ends. Now, with all that being said, I did mention before we talked about the tracks, I did look into the actual meanings behind some of these songs, and this one is actually about the war in Iraq. It's a criticism on that, because, you know, that was a big deal back then. There are so many, like, bands that have touched on the subject around that time. Like, the biggest one I can think of would have to be the band System of a Down, no doubt. They're, like, very anti-war. They're message band, as I like to call them. Very great metal band. I'm going to talk about them soon, too. So the song touches on PTSD and other things that soldiers have to go through. Let me just say something. I can't imagine myself being a soldier in war at all. I can't imagine killing anyone. It's just something I've never even thought about doing. And if I ever were to do that, even if it were by mere accident, oh my god, I would feel terrible. So the fact that there are these people who have to do that for honor and for their country and stuff like that is just so kind of... Not even kind of. It's so devastatingly upsetting and sad. It honestly makes the chorus even more chilling, and I want to read it out to you guys. Fight for honor, fight for your life. Pray to God that our side is right. And though we won, I still may lose, until I make it home to you. I see our mothers filled with tears. Grew up so fast, where did those years go? Memories won't let you cry, unless I don't return tonight. Honestly, ending the album with this note, especially now knowing the actual backstory behind what the song is about, just a beautiful way to end an amazing album. So this easily is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's easily top 5. I don't know an exact ranking. I just know it's in that area of the top 5. I highly recommend you guys check this album out if you haven't already. It's fantastic. If you guys want me to talk about more Avenged Sevenfold in the future, let me know down below. If you've listened to this album, what's your favorite song off of it? What'd you think of the album? Let me know down in those comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell when you do. And yeah, so long and good night.